Imagine a story that grabs your heart and doesn't let go, a tale of a father's unyielding love, a grueling journey, and a twist so powerful it'll leave you speechless. This isn't just another story about overcoming odds, it's about one man's relentless fight, blistered feet, and a single walk that changed everything. Stick with us until the end, because the way this unfolds will hit you like a lightning bolt. If this story moves you, pour your heart out, hit that like button, share it with the world, drop your thoughts in the comments, and join our family by subscribing to Midnight Tales. Let's dive into a journey that proves the smallest steps can lead to the greatest triumphs. Ethan Miller stirred before dawn, the faint glow of streetlights seeping through the cracked blinds of his one-bedroom apartment. The air was sharp, the heat along broken, but Ethan barely noticed. His 7-year-old daughter, Lily, slept soundly on the sagging couch, her tiny fingers curled around a tattered stuffed bunny, her only treasure. Today wasn't just another day, it was the day. A job interview at a manufacturing company downtown, a beacon of hope after 2 years of scraping by. Odd jobs, stacking shelves, sweeping parking lots, hauling trash, had kept them afloat, but barely. Bills stacked higher than the dreams he once had, threatening to bury him. This interview was his lifeline, his chance to give Lily the life she deserved. But there was a catch. His rusty pickup had died months ago, and the city's buses wouldn't run early enough to get him there on time. He glanced at the clock, then at Lily's peaceful face. There was no choice. He had to walk. Ethan slipped into his only pair of dress pants, faded at the knees from years of wear, and a shirt he'd ironed days ago, hoping to make it last. His shoes, once black, were now a patchwork of holes, the soles flapping like a tired heartbeat. 10 miles lay between him and the company's office. 10 miles of cracked pavement, biting wind, and a ticking clock. As he stepped out into the pre-dawn chill, each stride echoed with purpose. Lily's laughter filled his mind, her love for bedtime stories, her quiet wishes for a new backpack, shoes that didn't pinch, or a scoop of strawberry ice cream on a lazy Sunday. Those thoughts fueled him, drowning out the ache in his legs and the frost nipping at his fingers. Halfway through, his feet screamed. The holes in his shoes let in every pebble, every shard of grit. A pickup truck rumbled by, its driver casting a curious glance before speeding off. Ethan didn't raise a hand for help. Pride wouldn't let him. This was his fight, his burden, his promise to Lily. What he didn't see was the sleek black sedan trailing him from a distance, its tinted windows hiding a pair of watchful eyes. Inside sat Jonathan Hayes, the CEO of the very company Ethan was trudging toward. Jonathan, a man carved from ambition and boardroom battles, had been leaving his sprawling estate that morning when he spotted Ethan, formal shirt tucked neatly, tie slightly askew, walking with a grit that stopped him cold. Something about Ethan's unyielding pace sparked a memory in Jonathan. He'd grown up poor, clawing his way from nothing, and he recognized that blend of desperation and defiance in Ethan's stride. "Slow down," Jonathan told his driver, his voice low but firm. "Keep an eye on him." The driver, skeptical, muttered, "He's probably just out for a jog, sir." Jonathan shook his head, eyes locked on Ethan. "No. That man's walking with a mission." For miles, the sedan shadowed Ethan, unnoticed. Jonathan watched as Ethan's steps grew heavier, his shoulders hunched against the cold, yet never faltered. By the time Ethan reached the company's sleek glass building, sweat soaked his shirt, his shoes were barely holding together, and his breath came in ragged puffs. But his eyes burned with resolve. Jonathan, already inside, made a quiet decision to see this man for himself. In the waiting room, Ethan sat, hands clasped to hide their trembling. His stomach growled, he'd skipped breakfast to save the last slice of bread for Lily's lunch. When his name was called, he stood, smoothed his wrinkled shirt, and walked into the interview room with a smile that hid his exhaustion. The panel of managers fired questions like arrows. "Tell us about your experience. Why do you want this job? What makes you qualified?" Ethan answered with raw honesty, no polished rehearsed lines. He spoke of late nights cleaning offices, early mornings unloading trucks, and every moment spent fighting for his daughter. His voice caught when he mentioned Lily's name, but he didn't shy away. He wasn't just a man looking for a job, he was a father carrying a world of hope on his shoulders. Unbeknownst to Ethan, the man at the end of the table wasn't just another manager. Jonathan Hayes had slipped into the interview at the last minute, his presence unannounced. He didn't ask questions. He just watched. It wasn't Ethan's words that struck him, it was the worn shoes, the sweat-stained collar, the quiet strength in his gaze. Ethan walked out of the room with no hint of whether he'd made the cut, but a strange calm settled over him. He'd poured his soul into that room. For now, that was enough. That evening, Ethan knelt by the stove, stirring a pot of rice and beans, the only meal he could afford. Lily sat cross-legged on the floor, coloring on scrap paper, humming softly. A knock at the door jolted him. He frowned, nobody visited them. Wiping his hands on a dish towel, he opened the door and froze. Jonathan Hayes stood there, not in the tailored suit of a CEO but in a simple sweater, holding a box overflowing with groceries, fresh bread, fruit, even a pint of strawberry ice cream. Behind him, a car idled, its trunk packed with more supplies. Ethan's mouth went dry. "Mr. Miller," Jonathan said, his voice steady but warm, "I don't usually do this. But today, I saw something extraordinary. I watched you walk 10 miles to my company, in shoes that barely held together, for a chance to change your life. A man who'd do that for his daughter is the kind of man I want on my team." Ethan's knees wobbled, his breath catching. "You're hired," Jonathan continued, his tone leaving no room for doubt. "Not just for the job you applied for. I'm putting you in our management training program. We need people like you, determined, loyal, unbreakable." Tears stung Ethan's eyes, blurring the world. Lily peeked around his leg, clutching her bunny, her wide eyes fixed on the stranger. Jonathan crouched down, his face softening. "Your dad's one of the bravest men I've ever met, kiddo. He walked a long way today, just for you." Lily's shy smile lit up the dim apartment. Ethan pulled her close, his voice a whisper. "We did it, baby. We're gonna be okay." For the first time in years, the crushing weight on his chest lifted, replaced by a warmth he'd almost forgotten. As Jonathan walked back to his car, he glanced over his shoulder at the little family framed in the doorway, Lily waving shyly, Ethan's arm around her. He'd changed their lives, no question. But deep down, he knew their courage had shifted something in him too. Ethan's walk wasn't just a journey across 10 miles of pavement, it was a testament to a father's love, a spark that lit up a CEO's jaded heart. Sometimes, the smallest steps carry the greatest weight. Sometimes, when you think no one's watching, someone sees everything. This is the kind of story we live for at Midnight Tales, a reminder that grit, love, and hope can rewrite any ending. If Ethan's journey touched you, don't hold back. Smash that like button, share this story with everyone you know, and let us know in the comments what moved you most. Subscribe to Midnight Tales for more stories that dig deep and lift you up. Because in the end, it's the stories of heart and hustle that remind us what it means to be human.